Soundtracks are tremendously important. It's a paramount, immersive feeling that follows you hours after hours after hours. The game wouldn't be the same without it.
When you were playing Jagged Alliance 2, you spent so much time with the game that the music just became an instantly recognizable element. And you connected it with all of the action that was happening on screen, and that atmosphere that created was truly immersive.
And we wanted to make sure that we are taking the same approach and expanding upon it in Jagged Alliance 3. We knew that George is the kind of person for this project because in past projects he just keeps throwing new versions and new versions and new versions at us until we get it right. We were confident that he will give the care and the creativity that the soundtrack of the game requires.
I always try to make the project I'm currently working on to be really different, because every single one of those projects is like a child to me. It needs to have its own unique voice and unique style.
One of the challenges we faced in that inspiration source was that the game was going to be open world. There were going to be a lot of different places you were going to be able to go. So it wasn't going to just be one singular sound. There was going to be a style, and we had the inspiration on our style from movies and cinema in the 90s and early 2000s. We were trying to find this sound that brought in components from the different regions, but we also wanted to make it have that kind of film music score feel.
A really important thing about doing a soundtrack like this and to getting that 90s or early 2000 vibe is that you don't lean onto contemporary stylistic approaches, like for example a lot of synthesizers. So that's why we decided to record everything live.
We recorded this soundtrack all over the world. We did quite a bit here in Sofia, in the studio we're at here, this beautiful location. We did recordings in Prague. We were blessed to have this South African group that recorded for us, this vocal group that were incredibly talented. We had soloists with all of their unique instruments, places that we recorded them. It was quite a run of the world. You know, when I first heard the South African music, I was floored. Like, they're such incredible musicians. Intonation was near perfect. Such a resonant sound. What a privilege to be able to bring that into the game and play with those sounds and add some of that authenticity. It was just really, really cool.
The first time I heard the African track in Jagged Alliance 3, it felt amazing. It was like I was in Africa with all of the visuals and the soundtrack completing that picture. It was an amazing experience and it felt like Africa.
You know, another aspect of bringing this music to life was what I like to call trying to find the music that's in between the notes. You have what's written on the page, you have the dynamics, the articulation, you have information that is given to you on how to perform it. But music is beyond that. It's not just, there's heart, there's phrasing, there's emotion, and it's something that was very, very important for us to grab here. And that meant that we needed to spend the time to hear it, for the musicians to feel it, for the performance to have that kind of vibe. And you would see, there was one moment where one of the percussion players, even though we were done, wanted to perform it again because he wasn't happy with it at that point in time. That was not something you usually see in projects like this, and it's something that we think you'll really hear from the soundtrack when you get to listen to it.
We really wanted to make Jagged Alliance 3 sound as a classic. Jagged Alliance 3 has a tremendous amount of content when it comes to, you know, the visual, the story, everything that's inside. So the music had to match this.
Yeah, the game is open world in nature. So even when you look at satellite view, there's so many sectors, and all those sectors have different biomes and personalities to them.
There is the jungle, there is the savanna, there are the haunted forests, there are the urban areas, the military installations, and we wanted to make sure that the music captures the different feel of each region.
The level of detail we got into from every step of the process, the calls, the iterations, the recording process, the re-recording process, there was just a commitment to getting this to be something special that neither of us were willing to let go of.
I cannot separate the feeling of the country from George's soundtrack.
The most difficult challenge when writing the soundtrack for me is always finding the voice. Once I find the voice and the unique character of the game, the project, then it becomes easy. So when we have the theme, when we have the language, the harmony, the chords, the instrumentation, it becomes easy. But till then, oh man, that's a tough job.
One challenge I think that George lived up to, absolutely, was trying to find the time and the way to add the details into the writing. And I remember a conversation where George was like, "You want me to compose this?" And I'm going, I think it needs it. I think we should try it and see how it turns out. That ended up becoming the sound of the game.
The team loves the soundtrack, and there was this moment when it happens in every game. When you get to play a game over and over without any music in it, it feels complete to a point, but when you get the soundtrack in, and everybody in the team was like, "Whoa, this is gonna be amazing." So the thing I really love about the Jagged Alliance soundtrack, and what it makes me feel, is like it really drives me up to 11, and I want to go into the action and use all of my mercs to finish the job and rescue the president.
When people are playing games, they're so invested into the atmosphere and into the whole audiovisual experience. And I feel privileged that people would be able to actually connect to my music. So this is, I think, the most important thing for me, to have my music heard by fans, and hopefully they'll like it.
At the end of the day, I think what George, Brad, the team did with the soundtrack of the game is sort of unbelievable, and I'm so proud of being part of that.
Bringing the Jagged Alliance world to life has been an absolute honor. We can't wait for you to experience this, and we hope you love it as much as we've loved creating it for you.